Should I put the Twitter handles and stuff? Is there not like a thing I could just use for them? Oh shit, I have to fix. I have to fix this too, aren't I? This always says I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3. For some reason. Always defaults to Baldur's Gate 3. Just checking. And now I'm streaming Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, that's there now. Where are we? I feel like there's a widget. Wasn't there like a widget just to put my information on here? Like, oh, this is YouTube and all that. I don't see why I would need to. I could literally just make a text, right? So like socials. Oh my god. 0. I am a good streamer. You know, you'd think I would have gotten like better at this over the years, right? Over the many years that I've been doing this. You think I would have gotten better at this. It's so big though. Okay, so what if I just did that? What if it's just not in there? It's there. It's a creepypasta 0. And then let's go creepypasta. And then it's Billy the Skilliman. Can't even read that, dude. That's too small. PT, so I miss him. Oh, Eddie, where you at then? You traveling? Alex, thank you so much for the membership. Hey, from Wales. 69. Gorgeous. Hello, Wales. Yerp. Hi. Shatter Johnson. Panda Face. Palvarez. Miss these till now. Dude, don't worry. Look, these are random. There's no schedule to these. Cloudable. Hey, how's it going? Vampaz, how's it going? Kathy Evans, how's it going? I do want to point out that I have not been consistent. Last week, so you guys probably saw the video last week of the Bowie story, the second Bowie story, right? Yeah. Thanks so much, Memphis. I'm glad look. You guys are helping me make work go fast. Okay, so this works out. Last week the Bowie story, that was supposed to be like the first of like a whole bunch for that weekend. Okay, there was supposed to be a whole weekend of stuff planned out. Then I got sick, which was perfectly timed, might I say. And there was no coincidence of this. Okay, there's no coincidence that I got sick on the same day that Pokepia came out. That's circumstance. Okay? That's circumstance. But I got sick. I ended up getting a cold over the weekend. And, Gorgeous, what's your actual name? Can I see it? I can't see it. It only sees, like, a little bit. Okay. Listen to a lonely broadcast through Audible. What a great book. Yo, dude, that is a fantastic book. The second one is coming out, too. The second audio book is coming out for that one. If you guys have not followed, on their Kickstarter just yet about the release, that's really good. So, I mean, yeah, it's a really good thing. Go follow them. Let me grab the link for that real quick, and I'll post it where I can. But it's, where's the link? I ended up getting sick. Pokepia was out, so I, did that. I played Pokepia a lot. I may or may not have beat the story to Pokepia. So now I need to get back to work. I need to work my way through everything. The work needs to be done. Okay, that's given. It has to be work. Work has to be completed. Yes, I am. I'm still Daniel. I am still voicing Daniel in that one. Autumn will still be voicing. Autumn will still be voicing Evelyn. Joey's coming back to be able to voice Finn. So we have all the same cast, and they'll all be there. Tales from the gas station so many times. Need more Jack and Jerry. We'll see. I think I did some stuff for Dark Somnium recently, so we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. When I'll be back to La Ti Da, I will not be back to La Ti Da, unfortunately, Eddie. I would like to go back to La Ti Da, but the partnership there has ended. So I will not be going back to La Ti Da. We will be probably looking at some other places in San Antonio when October rolls around again. So I could be able to do some more fun stuff for October, but at the current moment, I don't have anything planned because it's March, so I don't have anything planned for October just yet. Once the summer rolls around, I'll start making some actual October plans. Why was season 2 of the gas station taken down? I mentioned this a few times. Probably you guys didn't hear it. I mean, it could have been over on Twitch or whatever. It was a long time ago when I mentioned it. It's to keep them from having two different continuities. So, what you guys heard, well, I guess at that point in time, it's different now. At that point in time, when I was reading things off of Reddit, those ones that were written by Gas Station Jack were more or less drafts that eventually became the novels, right? And they mix around with continuities now, so it's kind of a wild thing, how exactly it worked. But he didn't want to create two different universes, like a YouTube universe and a novel universe, because that draft was edited like crazy. It was edited to something completely different that became changed over in the actual novel. So he asked me to go ahead and remove it so that the only continuity that would exist is the novel continuity, and he wouldn't have to there wouldn't be two branching timelines, because that's what it would have had to have been, because they were so different. There was no, if you had listened to it on YouTube and then read the book, you would have been very confused unless it became branching timelines. So to avoid the confusion, to avoid all that, we went ahead and pulled season 2 of it. If you want to get what happened, if you're oh, I wanted to see what happened in those videos, just it's audiobook. It's novel volume 3, I think. Volume 3 is what season 2 was. That's it. The big differences were some of the character choices and some of the actions the characters take had to be changed because they went a different direction. Went a very different direction. Serious Beer Night. Let's do a lot of the channels, but is the only one I like because of how much emotion there is. Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, that was the main reason. These stories as a kid in 2010s eras, I had nightmares. Oh, Mad Prime Productions. Look, I'm glad I could give you nightmares then. Have all the audiobooks? Yo, I'm glad you do. Thank you for getting those. Because those were a lot of work to get those audiobooks done. The new ones, the new versions they have going on right now, let me go and change this over to the main thing. The new audiobooks and stuff that they have right now, the ones that Jack is doing, I think are fantastic as well. If you have not checked those out, that's from the crew that did the No Sleep podcast and the Creepy podcast. They are currently working on some stuff that I think is really cool. So if you have not seen that version yet, if you've not seen their what are they? I guess they're they're not they are the audio drama, but you called them something else. A full voice cast. They're fantastic. If you have not seen it, you seriously need to check it out. Have a lovely stream. You as well, Alex. You have a good night. Or gas station. Not now, maybe sometime in the future. Thanks for the response. Alex is you have to message Jack. I have no control over the gas station. I love being the voice of the character Jack in the books, in the audiobooks, in the audio drama, and all that. I love being able to be that voice, but that is not my bag. I don't write it. I don't produce it either. I only produce the audio. So that's just that's where we're at. I cannot make that happen. I can't make it be a thing. No, I don't want to do that. I want to add a game capture. so that the fishing still works for people who are watching on Twitch. Those of you, oh yeah, they're on the bottom now. For those of you guys that are currently here, know there's two places where streams take place. Okay, there is the Twitch, there is the YouTube, and one day, one way, sometime, I don't know when, don't know where, will eventually. Oh shit! How do I make this work again? I forget how to make this transparent. We'll eventually get it working on the Twitter. I don't know how it's gonna work. We'll figure it out. A lot of transparency. We'll figure it out one day, but it'll be up there. Hello, Zeta. Student, when I finish up some work. Yeah. Oh, hey, Goodwin. 42K. Holy shit. I didn't even see that. Making the Vegas story in the comment on that. No, you're good. Of that story dropped, I needed to let some of the pressure out. No, dude, you're good. You're good. I need to finish that. That's pressure on me, dude. I need to finish it. The cookies were delicious, Sater. Holy shit. Did they work? Did they work? Oh, animate stories. I've seen a few people who have done some animations. I think a lot of the animations usually go to the old Five Nights at Freddy stuff I did. I've seen some crazy cool animations for those old Five Nights at Freddy's Hidden Lore videos we did years ago. God, I think somebody did one like to the Walden Files style animation for it. God, so cool. I posted some things whenever I see them. They're really cool. They're really, really cool. Petaface, thank you for the resub. Pop by to say hi, no point. You're all good. I have not started recording. I talk. I do all this shit way too much. Let me get my actual stories lined up right now. This is ice fishing. This is a new one I need to do is ice fishing. We want to get through 2 stories today. I think what we have is Angel in a Wishing Well and ice fishing. The Flash Flood, I don't think I'm going to do yet. And I have this story as well. Okay. I have the abandoned house. I'm not going to do the abandoned house today. Maybe no, this is a short one. I don't want to get too many short ones in a row. So we have this. Throw away the CJ. Dude, I think one of the other stories, as a quick note, all the stories we do here are horror stories. They're going to be some things that I use language. If you guys are watching on YouTube or Twitch, you don't know what I do. I tell scary stories online. These are going to be scary stories I'm recording for my YouTube channel. They're going to have some themes, especially I think Angel in a Wishing Well has like some child abuse themes. So, quick note on that. If you guys are not comfortable with that, you should probably not be here. Old animations a lot. Oh, those are cool. Reaction to the rest. Hope you saw the smaller third-person story I linked. Yeah, I did see that one. That would be pretty cool. I'd have to take a look at it. Redoing the first 2 parts. I don't know about redoing the first 2 parts. I might just continue it onto the next ones that we got. Because, I guess it's been a while. It's been less than a year, so it's kind of hard for me. I don't know. I'll figure it out. The most recent Jack Townsend update. Excuse me? Hang on. Whoa, hang on. I did not see the most recent Jack Townsend update. Not read it. Tales from the Gas Station, gasstationjack.com. Tales from the Gas Station Volume 4 was 7 days ago. I saw that, the audiobook. I saw that. A theatrical version for the audiobook. Is that what you're talking about? Well, there's not a new Tales. There's not a new Tales. Yeah, there's not a new Tales. Oh my god, I was about to flip out. I was like, did he post and then not tell me? The Worm was the first story I listened to. And rewrote those parts to make them better, but it'll be ultimately up to you. Oh, the redone first. Oh, does it? Oh, wait. I just remembered there is Habitsville. I need oh shit, I need Pink Enigma. Wait. Is there new Habitsville that I missed? That was that. Babysitting service. We missed we no, we did this a long time ago. Like 4 years ago. Sage Diner's television. Yeah. That was 4 years ago, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago. Okay. I have not missed it. There's nothing new from Samuel Singer. Good. Good. I've been told that there is new stories from Samuel Singer. I haven't seen them, so I just want to be sure that they're not there. Um, Hello, seriously. My cat is here, so we'll see if she unplugs something. His direction, his current book, which was the fifth book, is After Tales from the Road, was going, and why he scrapped most of it and is now doing something different with his ideas. No, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's cool. No, I know that like Jack has felt like he wants to do something new, like not new. He wants to do something more, but he doesn't want to overplay it. He doesn't want the series to jump the shark, which is totally valid. It's totally valid. Um, as always, I'm going to start recording. I can still see the chat. You guys are welcome to talk to me while I'm recording, but just know that I can't always respond to them. I can, however, see what you're saying. And I will sometimes try to respond if something big happens, but I can't always do it, because if I stop recording or keep breaking character in the middle of things, my janitor? Oh god, he's gonna get pissed about it. My editor will get upset with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull open my story. This one. I'm going to pull open my audio, and we're gonna get going. Bum. We're testing. There we go. I need advice, and I need it fast. But first, let me explain what happened today. My name's Noah. I just survived something I can't explain. I'm sitting in my truck right now, heater blasting, hands still shaking as I type this out of my phone. I should be calling someone. The police, maybe? But who's gonna believe what I'm about to tell you? It started as a simple weekend trip to decompress after a brutal week at work. I've been ice fishing since I was a kid, and there's something meditative about sitting in a tent on a frozen lake, waiting for a bite. No phone service, no emails, just you and the ice. I drove out to Drifting Lake around 7 a.m. It's a pain in the ass to even find. I only knew about it because my friend's dad told me about it a while ago, and even then, I had to search for it on satellite maps. Access Point requires a solid 30-minute drive down a maintenance road that's barely maintained at all. Today, it was worse than usual. Patches of ice making the whole drive feel like playing Russian roulette with my truck's alignment. I saw the tire tracks from other vehicles, so at least I knew I wasn't completely crazy for attempting it. But every time my wheels slipped, I questioned my life choices. But that's exactly why I like Drifting Lake. The terrible access keeps most people away. Except today. There were more people than I expected. I counted maybe 15 other fishermen spread across the lake, their pop-up tents dotting the ice like colorful mushrooms. A couple of guys near the shore were unloading their gear from a sled, and one of them gave me a friendly wave as I passed. Any better luck out here before? I called over. First time adrift in lake, he shouted back. But he said it's worth the drive, though. Usually is, I replied, giving him a thumbs up. Further out, I passed an older guy who was already set up, sitting on his bucket outside his tent, with a thermos of coffee. He nodded at me as I walked by. Hell of a drive to get here, I said. Always is, he agreed with a chuckle. Be sitting in traffic on the regular lakes. I found a spot about 70 yards from the nearest tent, started setting up. That's when things started going wrong. First, I stepped into a fishing hole that hadn't completely frozen over. The shock of icy water soaking through my boot nearly made me slip, and I spent 5 minutes trying to wring out my sock in the freezing wind. Then the wind itself became a problem. I've set up this tent 100 times, but today the gusts were relentless, whipping the fabric around and nearly yanking the poles from my hands. At one point I lost my grip and the tent pole swung back, the metal end missing my temple by maybe an inch. It felt like whooshing past my face and actually heard it whistle. If it had connected, I'd probably be unconscious in the ice right now. And finally, after 20 minutes of fighting with the damn thing, I got the tent secured. I was sweating, despite the cold, frustrated, and already wondering if this trip was a mistake. But I was here now. Might as well fish. I drilled my main hole, watching the auger chew through 8 inches of solid ice. Then I drilled a second hole about 3 feet away from my underwater camera. It's a nice setup, right? One that I'd invested in last season. Lets me see what's happening below the ice, check if fish are actually down there or if I'm just wasting my time. I dropped the camera down and watched the monitor as it descended. No, TV head. Thank you for the raid. Oh my god, I need to now. I don't know how to do this. It's set up. Oh god. Okay. This is here. No, it's there. Shout out, TV head. There we go. Thank you. Hope you have. Thank you for the raid. I'm recording stories. I'm so sorry. I dropped the camera down and watched the monitor as it descended. Murky greenish water, some vegetation, and the occasional flash of something small darting past. It's normal lake stuff. I didn't see any decent-sized fish, but I'd give it time. The first hour passed quietly. Too quietly, actually. I kept expecting to hear the usual sounds of other fishermen. People calling to their buddies, the whine of augers drilling new holes, maybe some laughter, complaints about the cold. But I heard nothing except wind and the occasional creak of ice settling beneath me. Around 9:30 a.m. I heard the first splash. It came from somewhere to my left, maybe 50 or 60 meters away. I figured someone had caught something and was hauling it up to their hole. A few minutes later, another splash from a different direction. Then another. I checked my own line. Nothing. Not even a nibble. Camera showed the same empty water. Another splash closer this time. Then what sounded like someone shouting, but the wind made it hard to tell. Could have been excitement over a catch or someone calling to a friend. Ice fishing lakes can be weird with sound. Sometimes voices carry perfectly, sometimes they get swallowed by the wind. I went back to watching my line, adjusting my jig, trying to stay patient. The splashing continued intermittently, always from different directions. I started to find it annoying. If everyone else was catching fish, why wasn't I getting any action? Then I heard this scream. It was unmistakable, this time. A genuine terror-filled scream that cut through the wind. Close, very close, maybe from the tent nearest to mine. I scrambled out of my shelter, nearly tripping over my bucket in my haste. The screaming had stopped as abruptly as it started, but I ran towards where I heard it, my boots slipping on the ice. The tent was maybe 70 meters away, bright orange fabric flapping in the wind. As I got closer, I could see the entrance was unzipped and hanging open. "Hey!" I shouted. Are you okay in there?" No response. I reached the tent and looked inside. Empty. The guy's gear was scattered around. His rod was lying on the ice, his bucket tipped over, but what made my stomach turn was the fishing hole. I mean, it was huge, not the standard 8-inch diameter you drill with an auger, but easily 3 feet across. The edges looked chewed or broken inward, chunks of ice scattered around it, leading to that hole were drag marks. 2 parallel lines scraped across the ice like someone had been pulled. I stared at that hole, my brain refusing to process what I was seeing, and then I heard it. A wet, sucking sound, like something large moving through water just below the surface. I backed away slowly, my eyes locked onto that too large hole. That's when I noticed something that made my blood freeze, colder than the air around me. All the other tents were collapsed, every single one of them. 15 brightly colored shelters that had been standing when I'd set up were now just deflated piles of fabric on the ice, and near each one I could make out dark circles, enlarged fishing holes, just like the one in front of me. The splashing sounds I'd been hearing all morning suddenly made horrible sense. I was alone on the ice. I ran back to my tent, my mind racing. I needed to pack up, get off this lake immediately. My hands shook as I started throwing gear into my bag, forgetting organizing, forgetting about being careful. Just grab what I could and go. And that's when I glanced at the camera monitor. The screen showed murky water, but something was different. The camera was panning. No, being pushed by a current, and as it turned, I saw it. A person in the water, maybe 20 feet from the camera. My first thought was horror. Someone had fallen through the ice. Someone was drowning right now, and I was watching it happen on a screen. But that thought lasted maybe half a second before my brain started screaming that something was wrong. The person was just floating there, not struggling, not thrashing, not doing anything a drowning person would do, just suspended in the water, completely still except for the gentle drift of the current. And they were staring directly at the camera. The skin was pale, almost luminescent in the murky water. Visibility bloated that. Okay. The skin was pale, almost luminescent in the water. Visibility bloated. Maybe think of bodies pulled from rivers in the news, but this wasn't a corpse. It was moving with purpose, with intelligence, even though it hadn't been struggling a moment before. The face was human. Eyes, nose, mouth, all in the right place, but the eyes were too wide, unblinking. They caught what little light filtered down in a way that made them reflect like an animal's. The skin had a strange sheen to it, almost waxy, and that's when I noticed the neck. There were slits along the sides, 3, 4 on each side, opening and closing rhythmically, like gills, like it was breathing underwater. My brain tried to rationalize it. Weird lighting, murky water, shadows playing tricks, but then the person started swimming toward the camera. And any hope of rational explanation died. No human moves like that underwater. It didn't kick its legs or pull with its arms the way a swimmer would. It glided, moving with a fluid grace that was completely wrong. Its arms extended in front of it as it got closer, and I could see the hands clearly. The fingers, they were too long. They were webs. There was webbing stretched between them, translucent webbing like a frog's feet connecting each digit. "Oh, God," I whispered, and that broke my paralysis. I grabbed my phone, wallet, keys, shoved them into my pockets. Everything else, the expensive rod, the tackle box, the heater, I left it all. The monitor showed the thing getting closer, its pale face growing larger on the screen. I was halfway out of the tent when I heard the ice crack behind me. I didn't look back. I couldn't. But I heard the sound of ice breaking, of something forcing its way through a space too small for it, widening the hole with terrible strength. I heard water sloshing onto the ice, heard something that might have been breathing but sounded too wet, too wrong, and I ran. The ice was slippery, and I nearly fell twice, but horror kept me upright and moving. I could hear the wind in my own ragged breathing and my boots slipping on the ice, but I didn't hear anything behind me that somehow made it worse. I made it to shore, to my truck. I fumbled with the keys before finally getting the door open. I threw myself inside. I locked the door, my hands shaking so badly I could barely get the keys in the ignition. Only then did I look back at the lake. My tent was collapsed just like the others. My fishing hole, I could see, even from this distance, it was larger than it should be. Much, much larger. Camera setup was gone. The mount, the cable, everything just gone, like it had never been there. I sat in my truck for maybe 5 minutes, maybe longer, just staring at that lake, at the collapsed tents, at the enlarged holes in the ice, at the evidence of something I couldn't explain. And then I drove home, following that same rough maintenance road, my wet sock squelching in my boot with every press of the gas pedal. And now I'm home, and I don't know what to do. Those people were gone, 15 fishermen who were on that lake this morning. I talked to some of them. The guy with the coffee thermos, the two buddies unloading their sled. They seemed like good people, just out for a day of fishing, like me. They had vehicles. I mean, I passed them at the access point on my way out. Someone's going to be looking for them. Families, friends, co-workers. People are going to notice they're missing. What do I tell the police? That something in the lake dragged them all under? That I saw a pale, bloated thing swimming towards my camera with webbed hands, gill slits in the neck? That it was intelligent enough to take my camera to eliminate evidence? They'll think I'm insane. Or worse, they'll think I did something to those people. I have no proof, no camera footage, no witnesses, nothing. Just my story about a creature in drifting lake that hunts ice fishermen. I keep checking the local news, but there's nothing yet about missing persons. Maybe no one's noticed yet. Maybe their families think they're still out fishing, that they'll be home for dinner. But they won't. I know what I saw. I know what's in that lake, but knowing and proving are two different things. And honestly, part of me wants to go back, not to Drifting Lake. I mean, never there again, but to other lakes, to other ice fishing spots. I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years. It's one of the only things that's helped me decompress, that gives me peace. But how can I? How can I sit on the ice now, knowing what might be underneath? Every fishing hole I drill from now on, I'll be wondering if something's down there. watching me. Every sound on the ice will make me jump. Every splash in the distance send me into a panic. Maybe that's the worst part of all this. That thing didn't just take those people, it took something from me too. The one hobby that made me feel grounded, gave me an escape from the stress of everyday life. So I'm asking you, what should I do? I mean, should I report this? Should I go to the police? Tell them what happened, even though they won't believe me? Or should I stay silent and hope that someone else, someone with more credibility, finds evidence of what's out there? Those people are dead, or worse. And I got away, but I can't shake the feeling that it let me go, that it knew it had taken my camera, eliminated my proof, decided one witness with an insane story was better than no survivors at all. Has anyone else experienced something like this? Anyone heard stories about Drifting Lake? I need to know that I'm not crazy. I need to know what to do, because right now, all I can think about is that pale face staring at the camera, those gill slits opening and closing, and those two long fingers with webs stretched between them, and the sound of ice breaking as it forced its way through to get to me. I don't know if I can ever go ice fishing again, but God, I don't want to give it up. That's it. That's good. That's a good story. I'm not sure. I think I would give up ice fishing. I think I could give up the hobby. I'll pick up, I don't know. I could pick up playing video games instead of going ice fishing. I love fishing. Fishing's a fun hobby. I don't know if I'd risk it. Yeah, fuck water. This is why water is scary, dear viewers. You're right, Muffin. Just because you're not in the ocean doesn't mean you're not in danger. Fuck water, dude. Angel wishing well. Is this the one? I think this is the one. Ice fishing addicts be like, please, one more fish. Please, one more fish. I know that there's horrors out there beyond my understanding, but please, one more fish. I think I could give it up. I don't know. I've never been ice fishing, so maybe I don't understand the addiction, right? Maybe I don't know it. I think I could give it up. Still, that's a good story. I can absolutely. I like the horror element of that. Hearing the fact that like other people are dying and then set to like, what am I gonna do? See you later, TV head. Thank you for the raid. You would ever read Ted the Caver? I don't think I can do Ted the Caver. Dione House. I think I tried for those. Those are old stories. Like those are like old classic ones. I think I tried some of those a while ago. I think they've sold like, or they've optioned licensed off rights or things like that, or they did certain kind of licensing has gone for them where I can't use it. I don't really remember. It's something like that. There's my little guy. Muffin, this is for you. There he is. There's my little guy down there for you, Muffin. You get to see him. Look at him. Look at him reading his tablet. That's for you. Um, Angel and a wishing well. Oh, here's my setup. Okay. As with before, I'm going to be recording once again. So like you said, I could see your. I was wondering, since they're pretty famous. I know Ted the Caver, like being the first real like big creepy pasta story that like took off. I would say like first real. I think it was the first one. Uh, so that was like yeah, God, favorite story of 2025. My mind goes through like resets, dude. Like I don't even remember the stories I did in 2025. Hang on, let me look through the channel. See, this is the beginning of this year. It's the end of 2025. I did one that was top 10 creepypasta stories you may have missed in 2025, and then top 10 in 2025. I think uh there's two I'll say that are really good. I've really liked them in 2025 was the Would You game. I think turned out really good. A message appeared on every screen in the world. And you know what? I'll say this one too. The Black Square. Um, Ted the Caver. Yeah. Dark Samley and Ted the Caver. I mean, look, man. Some people can get licensing, some people can't. So, you know. Also, I mean, so good for him. If you guys want to listen to Ted Caver, go listen to Dark Somnian. He's great. He's like a fantastic narrator. Not to mention his voice is like butter. Like butter, dude. He got that deep velvet, you know what I'm saying? Um, I wish I had that deep voice, man. I only stuck with like the medium high. I want to have that deep velvet voice that like I hear like good narrators have. I'll reach out to nowhere. Oh, really? Uh, TV appearance coming up. I don't really know too much about the story. And it has a hum. Sam's read it and has posted about not posting on No Sleep so much anymore on account of their rules. If they posted No Sleep was taken down, honestly, I'd say your best bet is to try and get in contact with them. They said they never answer. I did find this one. A little corny, but it's fun. Is there? Oh, there is one. 6 years ago. Oh man, I need to just email Sam. I think it would be good. I think it would be good. Oh, whatever. Dark Somnium's a goat. Yeah, Dark Somnium's great, dude. This story you did called "My Property Isn't Normal." That wasn't. A lot of people tell me they love that one. A lot of people tell me they love "My Property Isn't Normal." "My Property Isn't Normal" is a great. It's a great series. Very funny. I think I always loved doing comedy horror. Is one of my favorite things. I like being funny. I've fallen into like doing horror way too much, and I can't be stuck doing horror forever. That's why like if in case you guys haven't noticed, me talking to you here is nothing like me talking to you on the channel. Yeah. And this title alone is why wells are scary. Enjoy your narrative voice. You put a lot of emotion into it. Oh, thank you so much. I'm kidding. Thank you so much. So if you get a license to read a story, like permission from the authors. Yeah, normally I'll get like permissions from authors before I do any of these stories. Like I've been doing that like for like many years now. There are a lot of them that are licensed to be like they are just licensed as like a story that can be used for anything, but like especially ones I do like on No Sleep, like this one here. I need to go through the author and like be able to get their permission, get written consent for them to be able to, for me to be able to use this on YouTube and the like. So I try to do that, but you know, it it's difficult sometimes. Sometimes I can like so there was a lot of people who asked me to do um I dared my best friend to ruin my life, right? No, end my life. Ruin My Life was the first one. End My Life was the second series. People are like, you should do like the End My Life one, and I was like, I struck it like literally the worst time. So I got permission to do Ruin My Life, and I did Ruin My Life, and it was like a really big hit. You guys really liked it. So I messaged the author, and I was like, hey, I wanted to be able to do the sequel series as well. And he was like, so I sold optioning rights for that, and you can't now. He's like, you can keep the first one up, but like you can't do the second one because like the rights to it are gonna get sold. Like, fuck, okay. So I never been able to do the sequel series, which is unfortunate. The same thing happened with Spire in the Woods. Spire in the Woods ended up getting like optioned, and I had to take it down because it was making problems for the film studio that was making it. And then like I got in contact with the author again because of Wendigoon wanted to try to do it for Creepcast. So he messaged me and was asking me to get in contact with the author, and like I messaged the author and I was like, hey, yeah, I'm trying to get. He wants to be able to contact you about it. I don't know if the optioning is still going on. And the author's like got in contact with him. If you guys saw it, like there's a Creepcast episode about it, so definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. About Spire in the Woods, because like the optioning period ran out, so I got to upload it on my channel again too. I got to re-release it and all that. So rights for things are weird. It's how it works. That's just it. I wouldn't wish for an angel. I'd be wishing for Jay Mansfield. Wow. Amazing. Good one. Alright, let me record the story before I start talking forever. I get distracted too easily. That's what. Look, this is your responsibility, guys. You're the ones who are supposed to be making me work and keep me on track today. You can't keep distracting me with these things, okay? You need to, like, keep me working, keep me on track. If I lose focus, it's your responsibility. Your responsibility to put me back on. If I lose focus all the time, right? If I lose focus, you guys don't get stories. And if you don't get stories, I die of starvation. So, auction for rights to read something out loud. I don't auction, no. It's like optioning is usually, so film studios will buy optioning, which basically means like, hey, we're gonna put rights to something on hold for a select amount of time to give us the chance to, if we choose, we want to be able to make something with it. And this will happen with film studios all the time. They'll like just buy up things, and then they'll pay you to be like, hey, here's a certain amount of money, and then you just can't give that to anybody else. Nobody else can have usage of that for like 3 years, 5 years, what have you. And if we want to, we can come over here and then we'll pay you more money to let us produce something with it. That is optioning. And optioning, like, Hollywood takes an interest in No Sleep a lot because No Sleep has really good ideas. Like, straight up, a lot of these authors write fantastic stories. In case you didn't know that, I release like 4 of them a week. They're all really good, right? So Hollywood takes notice of that, and they produce things like, you guys see Channel Zero, that's Creepypasta Stories, that's No Sleep Stories. There's another series on Amazon that's Creepypasta Stories, No Sleep Stories. There's 2-sentence horror stories, Creepypasta Stories, No Sleep Stories. They take notice, and what they do is they will pay them for optioning. Like, that is what it is. So they will just pay them to hold on to these ideas. And that happens a lot, where it's just like, hey, here's money. Hold on to that money, and that's your money, and you cannot give this to somebody else, which is just fine, dude. That's just how the system works. And, like, for YouTubers that don't have, you know, fucking Hollywood bank accounts to be able to do that, it sucks. But I'll say this, from my point of view, where from what I've been doing, I've been working with small authors, self-published, unpublished authors for, 15 years? 15 years now. I don't care. There's so many, like, stories that I could be able to pull from, so many other people I'd be able to do. If you can get money, dude, you just get money to, like, get your story optioned, like, cool, take it. You know, like, that's it. That's the end goal. Like, I don't, if you are like, they paid me $1,000, I can't let you read your story, read the story on YouTube. Cool. Take your money. I'll pull it. I don't care. That's the end goal is that you get money out of it. It's not the put the video up on YouTube. Take money. Take money if you want to take money. Just tell me. Get your bag, man. Get paid. This is one of the things I always say too with others is like, I don't buy exclusive rights. I will not, like, I pay for licensed stories. I pay permissions for stories and things like that. But I don't ever want to buy them exclusively, because if some other narrator wants to do them on YouTube, I want them to be able to give you more money. That's it. I want them to give you money too. I want you to get money for what you did. That's it. Take your money, man. Make money. We're all trying to fucking live out here, okay? You're trying to live. I'm trying to live. We're all trying to live. If you can get paid for something, get paid for it. Especially if it's something you enjoy doing. If you enjoy writing horror, you enjoy acting, fucking get paid for it, dude. And that's I don't know. I'm talking. Let me record. I think there's a lesson my dad imposed upon me at every opportunity was, if you want something, you have to be willing to earn it. Cookie jars on tall counters were a favorite lesson of his when I was younger, and more recently, he bought an old car and told me that if I could fix it, it was mine. Grease-packed nails and bruised knuckles weren't exactly the sort of fantasies I'd had about high school when I was playing princess, but the hours spent cursing and bolts and looking over manuals with him were treasures, ones that I hold dear. Find a way to get what you need, you can have what you want. That's how he was. Always insistent on my independence. 1 second. Okay, yeah. Find a way to make what you need. Find a way to get what you need so you can have what you want. That was how he was, always insistent on my independence. I suppose he was scared that I'd run into a younger version of himself out there in the world, and, like my mother, be too timid to reject his advances. Dad tried hard. I'm just going to restart. I'm going to do a more feminine voice. A lesson my dad imposed upon me at every opportunity was, if you want something, you have to be willing to earn it. Cookie jars on tall counters were a favorite lesson of his when I was younger, and more recently, he bought an older car and told me if I could fix it, it was mine. Grease-packed nails and bruised knuckles weren't exactly the sort of fantasies I'd had about high school when I was playing princess, but the hours spent cursing and bolts and looking over manuals with him, those are treasures that I hold dearly. Find a way to get what you need so you can have what you want. That was how he was, always insistent on my independence. I suppose he was scared that I'd run into a younger version of himself out there in the world, and, like my mother, be too timid to reject his advances. Dad tried hard to make it right once my mom escaped what we had thought to be a call. Dad tried hard to make it right once Mom escaped what he had thought to call a family. He'd never meant to make her do something she didn't want. He thought she was happy. Happy to be his wife, happy to be my mother, but she wasn't. And as soon as she saw the opportunity, she left. Dad's scared I'll be like her. Too scared of making a mistake to make my own choices. Too scared to tell him what I wanted. Too scared to tell him how I felt. Visions of a peasant girl doomed to the service of an arrogant king likely colored his reflection in the bathroom mirror a somber shade of blue. So I always made an effort to show him that I was happy, I was strong, and that I loved him. I wanted to change how he saw himself, to paint the mirror all the colors of the rainbow like the tinted glass of a church honoring a saint. I wanted him to be free of her, and I wanted the same for myself. Dad had us moving a lot over the years, chasing work where he could find it. Friendships outside of my family had always been transient, and I made an unconscious habit of keeping a comfortable distance from new people. Don't get too attached. A self-imposed rule that locked tears behind glassy eyes, watching everyone disappear in the rearview mirror. Reduced to nicknames and seldom visited group chats. Mom used to muse that I would make a fine widow, an awful jab. Mom used to muse that I would make a fine widow, an awful jab formed from what was surely her own fantasy. Stoicism wasn't in my vocabulary, but nonetheless, it formed an undercurrent that dragged me down into social obscurity. So when we moved to the quiet outskirts of a town in the foothills of California, I surrendered again to the malaise of pessimism, and made the best of what was. Do well in class, make new friends, make sure Dad knew that everything was okay. No wants, no wishes. But something happened at that school that had never happened to me before. I met someone. A strange, bright girl whose campaign of optimism would bring me to ruin. Who followed me after school, talking about her new favorite romance novel, only to realize too late that she was on the wrong bus. His bag was crowded with pins, buttons, and keychains. She became a walking wind chime when she was running late to class. She was dense, and oftentimes rude, more by accident than anything else. Always enthused, always smiling. She was like a gateway into every odd corner of the school, and before I had even eaten lunch on my first day, I'd been introduced to all of them. Friends had never come faster to me. Her demeanor shining over my stony expression, surely fooling people into thinking I was more personable than I actually was. A star that could make an asteroid shine. My usual walls and trappings were dissolved by her awkward, stumbling determination, and before I could rebuild the kingdom I'd made for my father, she had enshrined herself as a new ruler in my world. I was developing feelings for her that were strange to me, an uncomfortable desire for closeness that called every part of my childish conviction into question. Months passed, and in my crisis of tradition, I failed to claim anything. The days turned long, and the first day of summer brought with it terrible news. We were moving again. He never told me why. The stay had been shorter than any other. Only a few months had passed, and boxes still lay unopened around the house. Frustration at this sudden uprooting boiled over within me, and for the first time, we fought. The stupid and heedless action of a child being torn in two. His eyes were wide with shock when my petty revolution began, and sharpened with anger as it continued. At some point, I told him I hated him. I didn't mean it. I just didn't have the words for what I was experiencing, nor the patience to explain. I just wanted it to stop. I have no words for my shift of expression. I have no words for the shift in his expression. Devastation is meek compared in the mire of anguish that seeped from him as he gripped the counter's edge. He didn't speak after that, just let me ramble on with all the sense of a screaming infant. When I finished, he just got up, walked to his room. I'd never felt so worthless in all of my life as when I heard his muffled sobs from beyond that door. I wasn't ready to apologize, nor was I willing to listen further to the undeserved distress I'd thrust upon him. I wasn't ready to apologize, nor was I willing to learn further. I wasn't willing to apologize, nor was I willing to listen further to the undeserved distress I'd thrust upon him. So I grabbed my keys and drove. The hum of the engine we'd labored over doing nothing to clear my blurred vision. I didn't stop to pick a direction. Didn't dare offer thought beyond the reach of my headlights. The sharp turns of mountain roads soothed my unnamed aches as I swayed back and forth in time with the snaking yellow lines. Cold white scars of visibility conjuring trees as dull imitations of their daylight counterparts. It was a long time before I stopped at that turn, mindless of where I was or what I intended. Fortune never favored me, and tonight was no different, because the gravest mistake in my short life was looking at what lay beyond the roadside. The dilapidated road was partially overgrown. If a vehicle had passed between the sharp, intertwining arches of Manzanita, it would be... If any vehicle had passed between the sharp, intertwining arches of Manzanita, it would have been long ago. Shoots of life were springing from fissures in the dull concrete that connected it to the highway. Desperate saplings, tufts of grass, and persistent dandelions all poured from the rough-hewn red... Oh my god. What's with this? Why can't I get this? Desperate saplings, tufts of grass, and persistent dandelions all poured from the rough-hewn ravines. But it was what lay just beyond the tunnel of brownish red branches that fixed a singular notion in my mind. I think I know where I am. A huge gate lay a short distance into the brush. Tall metal bars twisted in extravagant patterns around two eagle reliefs that centered each leaf, bound shut with a thick iron chain held in place by a lock of unknown make, left unshackled. Not long ago, a particular point of intrigue was being passed around a sparsely populated corner of the local school. I encountered it in the library, its intricate largely lost to my flustered mind as that girl laid against my arm in mock slumber. The weaver of the tale, to his credit, recited it eloquently, unbothered by her display of contempt. From what I recalled, it was the story of a wishing well. As it was told, a young man had acquired a little house high in the mountains above the town. He was said to have fancied the solitude of the pines, had made his nest as far from the troubles of the world as he could manage. But the young man was poor beyond comprehension, living off rabbits, struck with stones, and fish snatched from the river. Oftentimes he would be seen begging for scraps in the muddy streets come winter, or peddling pyrite to self-proclaimed prospectors in the spring. He was known to everyone in town for his time as a pauper beyond the pale, and as a result he was the first thought of who dwelt there. One of the few true friends of the man received an oddly one of the few true friends of the man received an oddity in the mail. A letter addressed to him from his dear friend on the mountain. And it read as follows: "There's an angel in my well. It offered me gold, promised me death, reached unto my heart, and stole out my breath. There's an angel in my well." The same line repeated as many times as the paper allowed, and when his friend went to check the mountain, he found a sight so strange it befuddled his senses. What had once been a dilapidated little house on the ridge had become a fabulous manor. Walls, gilded white and gold, gardens of plenty, and rooms furnished like a castle. His friends were well dressed and offered him what was described as the most frivolous collection of fine brandy anyone had ever seen. When he asked how the man had come by the incredible wealth on display, he was offered nothing but blunt dismissal. And when he went in search of the well that had once graced the property, all that he found was a wide hearth of mountain misery. All that he found was a wide hearth of mountain misery and a circle of stones from the river below. The man on the ridge died old, happy, and without an heir. He left all he had to the children of his friends in the town below. A story of a wish fulfilled and a life devoid of want. The prospect of seeing the place that had inspired the local legend pulled my mind from its paradoxical miasma. I grabbed my lantern from the back seat and set off into the dark, conflicting desires and convictions falling away as easily as the chain around the gate. Hinges screamed as I pushed one leaf open. Age hindered its movement, and by the glow of the lantern I saw little clouds of rust being shorn away into a fine powder, falling quickly to the ground in a reddish-orange pool of decay. I picked up the lantern and slipped between the leaves of the gate. The driveway was long and dark, winding up towards the top of the ridge, but the relief of my adventure was potent, and it carried me forward like warm wind in spring. The manzanita remained as thick walls of reaching branches, clutching at the road as I climbed higher. More than a few times I thought I heard something moving through the dry thickets, but as soon as I stopped, silence fell between the branches. Many times I wondered why I had even left the car, why I didn't return at the first sign of danger lurking in the dark. In each moment, though, the answer was clear. I wanted my wish granted, too. The way up the road felt like it was miles long, and by the time I reached the top, my calves ached and my breath was short. The final stretch of broken concrete was steep, forcing me to walk on my toes as I crested the ridge. It seemed even the road into the manor was meant to discourage unwanted or unprepared guests. And as my little lantern reflected against the shards of glass that once filled grand windows, I felt that I was both. The manor was a ruin. It was either a second floor or the roof had long collapsed into the belly of the first. Flakes of paint fluttered on the night air like moths resting against the rotting wood siding. Huge holes between... Thank you. Aurorian Frost, thank you. I hope you had a good dinner. Huge holes between faded framing gate. Okay. Huge holes between faded framing gave way to the ruined interior. Tiny perforations were scattered across the remaining walls, and bright red shotgun shells were littering the ground at my feet. I felt a distinct sense of disappointment at the realization that someone else had been here recently. The dreamy qualities of the local fable were being lost one by one as they fused unceremoniously with reality. I carried on. The sureness of the ground beneath my feet offered firm assurance that I was... The sureness of the ground beneath my feet offered firm assurance that as I walked around the sundered hulk of architecture... Oh my goodness, the vocabulary of this. The sureness of the ground beneath my feet offered firm assurance that as I walked around the sundered hulk of architectural gore, I would only be greeted by a mundane swath of earth. But when I slipped past the final corner of the absurdly scaled mansion, I saw it. Its shape, illuminated at the edge of my lantern's reach. There, behind the house, was an old stone well, rising from a sea of mountain misery. Two broken posts, blackened with rot, were speared into the earth on either side of the lichen-encrusted structure, implying a roof that had once barred the depths from the sky. The side of it struck nails through my feet and into the detritus below. Oh my God. The sight of it struck nails through my feet and into the detritus below. A terrible chill rolled over me, solidifying my joints mid-stride as my eyes fixed on the rough stone rim. Nothing else was near it. Piles of discarded trash and rotting wood were littered everywhere around the property, but the sea of sage-green undergrowth was clear of it all. It was alien to its surroundings, a sense of isolated reverence amongst the forgotten. I stood there for a long while, primed for paralysis by the shadowed roadway that had led me here. I was struggling to suppress my own internal dialogue as it sounded out words that I desperately didn't want to hear, but were strung together anyway. There's an angel in that well. Commitments were made long before any action were taken. Rules taught to us as children, biases we developed as we grow. Commitment is a guiding force that seems ethereal despite its source and logic. Our animal brains seek continuance, preservation against the withering of the world, and so we make decisions long before the moment we need would arrive. Walking the long, frightening path to the manor, forcing the gate open, driving away from the gloom of a dream being stolen away, one step towards the well. The first I saw were fingers, flowing over the rim before setting their grip onto the stone. 1, 4, 8, 16. 4 grayish-black hands forming a surreal compass on the masonry. And rising from the depths were more. The motion as those next 2 hands raised from the center of the well was ascendant. The motion of those next 2 hands rising from the center of the well were ascendant. Clasped together in a notion of prayer, they rose from the well, absolute and unwavering locomotion, like the glittering stillness of laminar flow. They parted. They were struck together with force. A sound like thunder made me flinch. And when I looked back to the well, I saw a wedding. My wedding. She was there. A flowing red dress wreathed the earth below the... A flowing red dress wreathed the earth below the altar, flowing down the steps like a river of satin. I felt a tug on my arm and turned to see my father, smiling as he prepared to walk me down the aisle. It was so warm, so bright, so fiercely divorced from the night that I'd left behind that it felt as though the world had flipped beneath my feet. When I turned to look at her face to drink in more of the sight, it was not her that I saw. It was the well. More hands on its edge, a tightly woven bud of knuckles and palms peeking over the lip. The arms that wrought thunder still raised high above, clasped together to imply a being pleading with the stars. Mountain misery tickled the top of my socks. Somehow I had moved closer to the well. Fingers flayed outward behind its amalgamous skull, forming a terrifying halo as it continued to ascend from the dark pit. More arms rose from below, and now 2 reverberations rattled my skull as the world gave way again. A bedroom. Heat flushed over me as something writhed beneath the comforter. A scent like lavender, sharp pricks of ecstasy. Sweat-covered skin peeling away from itself, only to fall back together again. Supple sensations under my palms, between my legs. We were there. I could feel it. Excitement flooded my chest as I envisioned her form, tangled together with mine. A briar with no thorns. A mystery not left to my imagination as the room fell away and I witnessed her against a torrent of shining white sheets. Guilt stabbed through the lustful ichor, and I turned away only to see the well. The thing had risen tall over me, the stonework within arm's reach. Terror gripped me as its head and chest began to bloom, fingers and fists peeling away from each other, revealing ever smaller variants until at each stamen rested chubby little hands that could only have belonged to a newborn. Cradled in its skull was an ornate lighter, gilded and shining in the distant light of my lantern. Clutched in its ribs was a pristine tower of red wax and wick. Fingers snapped into palms in what seemed like every direction, rhythmic dandelination, an instruction that bore into my soul. Light the candle. My whole body trembled. The honesty and its insistence laid bare its intent to see me harmed, but the nectar of its trap was intoxicating. The promise of everything I wanted sent shudders across my body that crashed into the terror rising in my guts. I reached for the candle. The fingers drummed across its form in anticipation. My fingers wrapped the red wax and gently pulled it free from its chest. It shuddered. In pain or bliss, I remained to this day unsure. I touched the lighter. It fell easily into my palm. The drumming intensified. Waves of undulating digits rolled across its vaguely human silhouette. Fervent snaps forming a song of want and plenty. I struck the lighter, its light casting deep shadows that flexed and sprang away like fleeing rabbits. I brought flame to wick, and it drank gleefully. All at once the night went limp, gentle flicks of flame, that sole source of movement. The thing was dead still, frozen in its strange dance above the well. A sharp clang. Okay. A sharp clap rang clear through the... A sharp clap rang clear through the dark. Its sound reverberated endlessly in all directions, quickly growing in intensity. The tonal torrent was oppressive, and I backed away, holding firm to the candle while attempting to cover my ears. A new impression pierced my mind and engraved itself into the darkness behind my eyelids. When that candle goes out, he will die. And then it was quiet again. When I next opened my eyes, the world was white. Neither the well nor the manor in view, and then chaos. An unending hurricane of joy, hunger, pain, loss, and terror. Every second of my life was being played out at nauseating pace that reminds... Every second of my life was playing out at nauseating pace that remains painful to recount. Sounds blended into screeching, disorienting scents coalesced into vile incense, and my vision was a blur of shapes and colors. I was allowed to miss none of it. By some horrible curse, I felt every stab of pain, saw every sight, and agonized every emotion. The sensation of molten red wax pooling and flowing over my hands was dull and distant in comparison to the unending flood of input from my entire life. And then it became unfamiliar. A life I had yet to live shot past me at such speed that there was no time to dwell in any of it. Joy gave way so quickly to sadness, and in the next instant that sadness had reverted to joy, a cycle of existential whiplash, a sickening distillation of raw experience. The candle's flames drank hungrily at the wax. It might have been hours or days before I finally managed to call out into the... opulence, okay. It might have been hours or days before I finally managed to call out into the opulescent fog of noise and static, "I don't want this!" My mouth failed to move. My flesh had become stone, bearing witness to the age of my own existence. "Please, just fucking stop!" Words that spanned years. I held them in my mind, trying desperately to shout out the smell of I held them in my mind, trying desperately to shut out the smell of ammonia and my father's still face as it flew past. "I don't want this, please!" A new cry to mark a decade. Her face filled with wrinkles, a smell of nostalgia and comfort. My time was running short. A series of snaps shattered the stupor. Then offer them. Then offer them. I had no mind left to resist its offer. I didn't need to know what it wanted. I would have given anything to be free of this. I offer it, whatever it is. Just please make it fucking stop. The world came back into focus in an instant. I took huge gulps of air and crumpled into the undergrowth. Weeps and cries escaped me in uncontrolled spasms as I mourned a life I'd never lived. It offered me no time to grieve. Hands. I turned to the well, the candle now delicately perched on its edge. Nothing but a crater of wax held the wick aloft. Heart. Its intent laid bare in my mind, detailing an exchange so horrific I considered letting the candle play out its course and spare me from its clutches. The offer was my freedom. Its price, my heart. The engine tucked away in my chest, it hungered for it. A desire so frightful and vast it would blot out the stars and sky alike. Hands emerged from the misery. Hands emerged from the misery closer to the well. Palms upturned. The flame gently savored the air, its wick starting in it. The flame gently savored the air, its wick starting into a lean. A decision would have to be made soon. I was an animal faced with its own demise. I wanted only one thing in the world, to stay alive a little bit longer. I shuffled and scraped closer to the palms on the ground. My legs too weak to carry me, their fingers flexed and rolled as I drew closer. The thing above swayed to and fro like a tree in a thunderstorm. Motions that became more feverish the closer I'd come. I rolled onto my knees as I locked hands with the well. The swaying mass trembled at my touch and stooped towards my prostrated body. More hands parted the undergrowth around me, gripping my shoulders and arching my back, forcing my stomach towards the well as the chest... Forcing my stomach towards the well and my chest towards the sky. I'd never seen it so clear. The growing scar of the Milky Way was stark against the grand tapestry of ebony that held it above me. Imprisoned there before the vastness of the sky, it felt for a moment like I could fall into that endless depth. I stared hard at those stars, little dots of light a million miles away. A notion of vain naivety held me aloft for a moment more. I hope they remember me. A single muscular arm unfurled from the writhing silhouette, tracing through the night air towards the space between my midsection and chest. Its digits formed together into a spade before slipping beyond my vision. Fingers from below found their way between my lips to stifle and hold low. Each breath brought it closer. Uncontrollable spasms of terror racked my body in anticipation for what was to come. A small, firm pressure below my sternum signaled its arrival, pressing into my flesh. Deeper and deeper it went, the agony of my skin and muscle slipping aside the piercing path of the arm as it pressed on was horrific. I flexed and spasmed in its grip, desperate to flee the indescribable pain. I bit hard at the fingers in my mouth. No reaction. Its pace was absolute. Its path and pace were absolute. All that came was a taste like licorice as they drowned my tongue in their All that came was a taste like licorice as they drowned my tongue in their weepings. Warm flows from the wound ran down my stomach and around my back. The whole hand was inside my torso, fingers wriggling away at my diaphragm. The barrier between my gut and chest burst as the wrist slipped below. The wound in my core widened to accommodate the forearm as its nails brushed my heart. Horror racked my violated body as the fingers curled around their prize. Each pulse of blood, a new revelation of agony. And then it began to pull. The annihilation of my entire form from toe to scalp. Every nerve in my body was on fire. My chest, the hearth of hell. Blood vessels pulled taut as the arm retrieved from its burrow, snapping in sharp reliefs of pressure that wrought more and more waves of death and despair. The candle burnt silently as the hand exfiltrated its crimson want. My body failing, I watched as it raised my desperately beating heart towards the open crown of its head. Many hands scratching at the air, desperate for a taste of the spasming organ. The hand drew close to the hungry bloom, palms closing eagerly around the red drum. And in a single sharp motion, it was crushed. The last thing I saw before darkness claimed my vision was ribbons of ruby spraying free in every direction. Scene change, Matt. I woke just before the sun crested the horizon. I rose to my feet in the dim light, I rose to my feet in the dim light, wisps of clay dust rising with me. No wind stirred the pines, birds filled the sky with song, and the crisp mountain air coalesced pools of mint in my lungs. My cathedral of respite, a promise that my ordeal had concluded. The well was gone. Nothing filled its place, just deep tire tracks and clay dust, a circle of river stones, filled with cold ash and coals. I set my palm to my chest. A rhythm like thunder greeted me from below my ribs. We didn't move away. Dad is happy. That girl is in my bed. The thing in the well hadn't lied to me, and as I lay here among the fruit of my every wish, writing down the macabre details of that night, I finally understand the cost of want and the price of plenty. That's like a very eloquent story. This is like a... I wanted to say this is almost like a gothic like story, but it's set like modern. It's like very eloquent. I want to say, so I got like, obviously I was like super deep in like the emotional stuff, so I didn't want to say this one. Aurora and Frost, thank you so much for the donation. Favorite creepypasta, when I create an Epic Mickey based one someday, might call it Thinner Effect. That'd be pretty cool. I liked Epic Mickey a lot. I never played the second one, but I always wish there was more. The first one I know was very sad. Favorite creepypasta is hard to do. There's like 4,000 that I have on the channel, and it's really hard for me to like pick out one. Like that one, it's my favorite one. The question was which one was my favorite from last year, and I did like a bunch of the ones I did last year. The Would You game being like some of the big ones. Black Square was also one of the favorite ones I did last year. I think it was really, really good. I did one called There's a Drumming in the Clouds. That was also really good. That was really fun. Main character was a girl, yes. Main character was a girl in this last one. She mentions it towards the beginning. But I will get these uploaded to my editor. Then it's time to do a little bit more searching for stories to go up for the remainder of this week, so I can get varieties up. These ones go up here. Keep in mind, there's going to be shorts stuff that happen throughout the week as well. I believe the short got uploaded today. There'll be some new ones also going up on TikTok and those. So if you guys use those, then yeah, it's all the same shit. You all see it here. Just might as well watch the YouTube channel or listen to the podcast. It's just the whole story. You just want to hear 1 minute of it. I guess you can watch the short. But you still remember Mr. Nightmare? Yeah, I see not posting anymore. Mr. Nightmare's great. He was doing great shit. I'm gonna go up. If you guys are watching on Twitch, get ready. We're gonna raid into somebody as I continue work for this, the rest of my work for this, and then if you guys are watching on YouTube, it's just gonna end. So, yeah, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you guys for coming here and helping me stay on track, helping me continue to work. I hope all of you have a great evening. I hope all of you have sweet dreams, and I'll speak to you guys later.